Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode number 66 today for the finale of Season 3. It has all come down to this after 22 rounds of what has been such a close-fought season between four of us. It comes down to this, and mathematically, technically, four of us could win it today, because even Science there down in P4 is still within a shout. He would have to win the race and the rest of us DNFing, but mathematically, there are still four potential winners. But realistically, it looks like it's a straight fight once again, as it was in Season 2, between myself and Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. My teammate Verstappen there in third place maybe has more of a shot than Sainz does, but again, that's a bit more of an outside shot. But him and Sainz might be battling quite hard for third and fourth respectively in the championship, so that might be another spanner in the works in this race today. And also, I just don't know what the pace is going to be like. Abu Dhabi is a very unique circuit, you know, tight and twisty in the last two sectors, but also you need some straight line speed as well in the first sector, so I don't really know who's going to be on the front foot. We've seen in recent races also other teams like McLaren and Renault have been creeping in and kind of being in the mix, and so that just adds another layer of cars that are going to be there around us that we have to maybe potentially fight. But obviously, we're going to hopefully just aim for as high as we can and try and beat Leclerc on track. We do have a points advantage over him, but obviously I would rather just beat him fair and square on track and not leave it to that maths on the go on circuit. But, you know, Leclerc's obviously looked very quick at times this season, maybe not as quick as he did in Season 2. So in that kind of regard, I'm actually a little bit at ease in terms of my mind coming into this one than I was this time last time in Season 2. I think genuinely we have a much better car than we did last season, and Leclerc as an AI driver and the Ferrari car has looked a little bit less overpowered, because obviously we had all these other kind of cars coming into the fight throughout the entire time. And obviously it's very nice to see at the very end of this entire season that, yeah, the first four winners of this season have ended up being the four people at the top of the championship. Myself, my old teammate Sainz, my current teammate, and then obviously my old championship rival from last season. What a storyline this Season 3 has been. We've wrapped up the Constructors' Championship. That is done and dusted. We've got the trophy, and now it's time to see if we can finally bag our very first Drivers' Championship on this game. I think this is potentially the first time ever in a while. I can't even remember the last time I didn't win a Drivers' Championship within the first two seasons of a brand new game career mode series. So this is a kind of new territory for me, and so I really don't want to muck this up. We've had a lot of pressure put on us this season to perform, and you got to be realistic. To be fair, I've buckled under that pressure a few times. There's been a fair few big errors, but we've also had equally some great drives. I think about Singapore, great strategy to win that Grand Prix early in the season. Getting those two early wins were really decent for me, I feel, as well. So we've had some good time as well, and hopefully we can now round this thing out and win the championship. But that's all to come. But why don't you guys pause the video now and let me know in the comments below which team are you on and who do you think is going to win this one, and then maybe come back at the end of the video and see how you did on the prediction. Let's get into this then. We're going to go straight into qualifying for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. No real admin of note to go through. It's all about this race and the actual performance here. And more than ever this season, I feel here at Abu Dhabi, the qualifying is going to be so important to set ourselves up for a good race, because as I mentioned earlier, this season's been so competitive. We've had, you know, three big teams here in the form of ourselves, Ferrari and Red Bull, but also teams like McLaren and Renault, and even Mercedes at times maybe have been kind of there in the top 10, and they've kind of been, you know, kind of chicanes we've had to kind of navigate around whilst we battle our championship rivals. And so if those guys are quick and they look quick in Q1, we make our way through. Easy does it obviously into the second part of qualifying, but Verstappen tops the timesheets. I'm in P6. No surprise there in terms of obviously we heat up as we go on through qualifying, but you can see Lando Norris is right up there. The Renault Mashusita is also quick, so I think we're going to want to try and get as high as we can, because traffic is a big issue at Abu Dhabi, especially after that first pit stop. If you get stuck in traffic, it's kind of hard to get out of it once you're in it, so we need to be careful about that and try and get the best result we can. But you can clearly see we're onto a set of medium tires, this is, into Q2 as the night sky really comes through here in Abu Dhabi, and the floodlights have come on to really light up the stage of this finale. We're trying this alternative strategy because we've got our rivals trying it as well. I believe Leclerc, Verstappen and Sainz are all on the medium, so let's see if we can make our way through. Bit of oversteer that was in the last sector. I thought the first two sectors were pretty tidy, but let's just see how it is. We're just ahead of Verstappen then in P5 there, but out-qualified by Leclerc, who's not on the mediums. My bad. I thought Leclerc would have been on the mediums, but no. Ferrari and Leclerc, they firmed it. They just don't think they can make it through a medium tire, so they've gone early on the soft compounder tire, whereas myself and Verstappen and Sainz, we've all risked it. Sainz looks like he's got a lot of pace in that Red Bull car of his on the mediums, but me and Verstappen, we're P9 and P10 now by the time I get through to the back to the garage, and we are on the cusp of being knocked out, so we need to go again, and we have to abandon that plan and go onto soft tires. To be fair though, because Leclerc has gone onto soft tires straight away, that's actually a less of an issue then for us. I don't really care if Sainz is on mediums. As I said, mathematically, yes, he's in the championship fight, but I really highly doubt he's going to be winning this race, and the rest of us not having any points basically. So we don't really need to worry about him too much. It's all about Leclerc really, and then just wanting to have Verstappen there as maybe a bit of a rear gunner. So both of us on the soft compounder tire, we do go a lot quicker, as you would imagine, on the softest compounder tire and make it through into the top 10 shootout. Both Mercedes cars end the season being knocked out of Q2. They've had such a torrid time, so much unreliability. I don't know what's gone on really with the coding here in this career mode save as. To be fair, I had it before. I think on F1 2018, I think, or 17. There was, there are times where sometimes, I don't know, for whatever reason, the game just decides, you know what, it's time for this particular team to just have all the bad luck in the world. I think 2017 was the Ferrari team where I won the championship, where both of them retired in the finale race. I think 2018, might have been the Mercedes kind of issues, and 2019, we didn't really have too many of those kind of weird kind of oddities in the kind of game saves, but in this one in particular, yeah, Mercedes have had a torrid time, especially Hamilton's AI. I think as an individual, he's just not performed, and I'm still surprised we've not actually heard anything on the email system about his AI retiring from this career mode save, so I guess he'll be continuing on, and we'll see how that progresses then for a fourth season with that entire story there. But for us, into the top 10, and the only man through on the medium tires is Carlos Sainz. So, like I said, don't really mind too much. That's fine by me. It's all about that man behind us in second place here in this session, Leclerc. But that's good for us to show that pace and have the pace to be top of the session here going into the last shootout. That's very good news. But we've got a lot of cars quite close to us, and it looks quite fine, to be honest, in terms of lap times between those guys in the top 10. So it's top 10 shootout time on our first flying lap, trying to go as quickly as we can, and the car feeling a little bit stiff, I'm not going to lie, there through that first corner. It felt a little bit kind of worse in some areas and better in others as we went through from Q1 to Q3, so a bit of track evolution there, not wanting to lock up there, so a little bit early maybe on the brakes, just to make sure we don't make the same mistake we made this time last season, Season 2. We had a huge lock up on that left-hander in the crucial part of qualifying, but pretty tidy, I would say, and pretty neat overall, but there's maybe some more time to find maybe on the second run if we're a bit more aggressive. I say that, we lock up a little bit there on the left, but all in all, keeping the car within the confines of the circuit in pretty good momentum, I would say, through that second sector. Apart from that little mistake there, rear end stepped out across the line, and it's P3 ahead of Leclerc though, and Verstappen crucially. Lando Norris currently is on provisional pole position in the McLaren. Sainz in second. I don't know what this qualifying session is right now, and we've gone red first sector. Not too much time found on that first sector, and you can see we had this issue last season, and it's happened again. I don't know how to take that hairpin on this game with the handling physics. I just don't know. I don't know how the AI do it. They always gain about 1 to 2 tenths on me in that hairpin. We've had to just deal with it, and across the line we gain minimum time there, like 500th of a second, but that's enough to put us up the order. We were down to P5, we're back up into P4, that is then, but on pole position is our teammate Max Verstappen, but we do out-qualify Leclerc. Leclerc did not go quicker. We improved by a little bit just to go P4, and Sainz is on second place, and Lando Norris in third in the McLaren, but just look overall how close that is. P1 to P5 is all covered under 2 tenths of a second, so this race may be quite juicy. We've got Verstappen and Sainz on the front row. They're battling it out for P3 in the championship. You've got us two championship contenders in 4th and 5th, so we're on actually the row ahead of Leclerc, so that's pretty good, and we're alongside Lando Norris, who's done insane to be up in 3rd compared to his teammate, who's 8 tenths off him in 10th place there, so that's just his AI doing absolute madness in that McLaren car, I feel. And then you've still also got, to be fair, the likes of Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, and the 2 Renaults, who they're a little bit off the pace there, but in race pace, you just never know, really, but pure pure qualifying, that's so fine. So close. But we've got one of our cars is on pole position, so we've clearly got some pace there. And I'm only 1.3 tenths off Verstappen, which is a pretty acceptable kind of region, I feel, between teammates. So I'm not too bothered by that, and I'm very happy we've outqualified Leclerc. That's exactly what we want. I don't want this to come down to mathematics of, have we done enough to still have the championship. I want to try and beat Leclerc fair and square on track, because I don't want that feeling of last season where we were just chasing him in the last laps and we just couldn't do it and it slipped through our fingers. I want it done and dusted. Let's go to the grid. This is it. One final race to try and get our first Drivers' Championship.
Welcome to the Yas Marina circuit for the finale of another thrilling Formula One season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a track that's been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit, just over 3.4 miles long with 21 corners and 2 very long back straights. There are 2 DRS zones going into the heavy braking zones of both Turn 8 and Turn 11 and offer plenty of potential for overtaking. The circuit comes with its fair share of tricky corners as well, in particular 15, 16 and 17, which will certainly test a driver's braking management. And so, for one final time this season, Anthony Davidson joins me in the commentary box.
It's been another great year of racing, but let's not look back just yet. We've still got one more Grand Prix ahead of us. Some of these drivers don't know if they'll be in the sport next year or how competitive their car might be even if they are. So this is a race where every driver should be striving to make the most of it.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And talented Spaniard Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, the owner driver, Charles Leclerc and Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Kvyat, Matsushita and Esteban Ocon, Albon, Gasly, Valtteri Bottas and Stroll, Hamilton, Perez, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi, Aitken, De Vries, Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Well, here we are then on the second row of the grid, and the nerves are starting to come in now. Strategy-wise, for most of us, it will be a 2-stop from the soft compound tire to 2 sets of mediums. Sainz, of course, the man directly ahead of us in second place. He was the only man who managed to qualify in the top 10 on mediums in Q2, so he might have a bit of a different strategy. So he might have a very good chance if he pulls off maybe a 1-stop. He has a good chance to maybe dominate this entire race and finish off the season quite strong after quite a string of pretty horrendous races for him and Red Bull as a whole strategy-wise. So it'd be quite ironic for him to do that, to come on so strong in the last one. Verstappen on pole, though, showing the car has pace. Him, I almost want him to be a rear gunner for me, but at the same time, if he's just doing his thing out front, that's fine by me, as long as we can try and obviously maintain and control our race and keep ahead of Leclerc. I'm fine by that, but it's an issue if then maybe later on in the race, if Verstappen happens to be on the same piece of tarmac and he's fighting as hard, he's obviously still mathematically in the championship fight, but me and Leclerc would have to have an absolute disaster class if we crashed together or whatever for him to win it, basically. So it really is just between myself and Leclerc. A little note just before we get into this Grand Prix, just like was the case in Season 2, unfortunately, I don't know what it is. I think my game is a little bit broken, but for some reason, again, the replay cameras are all playing back as if it's morning at Abu Dhabi rather than the twilight day to night transition race we love to see at Abu Dhabi. It's the only really reason why I love coming to here as a finale, because of that spectacle. Unfortunately, that will be lost a little bit once again, as it was done in Season 2 in the replay cameras, but of course on board it will still be fine. But that's why if you're wondering for that, but there's not much I can really do, so thank you very much, Codemasters, for ruining the aesthetic of what should be usually an epic finale video. Really love that. But anyway, I digress. It's time to do the business. 3 points separates myself and Charles Leclerc. This time last season, he was on an insane run. It was what, like 7 wins out of 8 races going into this one, and he was looking so overpowered. This time, it's different. We've got probably the best car on the grid, I would say, still over the course of this season. I'm feeling a lot more confident about this than I was last season. It's time time to get revenge for this championship slipping through our fingers in Season 2. Let's go out there and get our first Drivers' Championship. And with that, for the final time this season, it's time to go to 5 red lights for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The championship decider is underway. It's a decent getaway for us. Bit of a slow one from the pole sitter, and Sainz has got a good run into turn 1. The two of them side by side. Bit of contact made with Sainz and Verstappen. Behind, Leclerc's got the jump of Norris into turn 1, and Sainz is slow, and we're through into P2. It could be a 1-2 here for the team, but down the crest, Sainz keeps his nose, and he dives down our inside to try and force his way back through into the fight. Still neck and neck. We're going to try and squeeze him out into the hairpin as we do successfully, and so it is a 1-2 right now for aarava Archer Racing. Well, we said, remember, Sainz on the medium tire, so maybe that's why he was so slow off that exit of turn 2, but now he's got a great run at us. That Red Bull car looking pretty quick, even though we're deploying ERS most of that straight. He's right up our gearbox. We go defensive to the inside. He's going the long way around. We lock up. We're going to bang sidewall tyres. We're going to cut in for the tighter line and the exit, but we've been hit. Oh, Leclerc's hit us. Oh my God, you cannot make this up. We've just been hit round by Leclerc. We've recovered a little bit. We're back in a straight line. We're now straight away back in racing mode. Dive down the inside of Albon to get back a bit to now what is P10. But what have I just witnessed? Leclerc has just spun us out in the finale. This is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. What has he done there? What was he thinking? He had no room to work with. He was so far back. We were going in for the nice cut-in line for the great exit to re-overtake Sainz. And instead now we're down in P10. Verstappen leads the way. Good gap to Sainz. Then there's a little one to Leclerc now, who is in 3rd place in the Ferrari car. And then there's a whole gaggle of cars. Norris, Kvyat, Matsushita, Giovinazzi, Ricciardo. All cars that are now ahead of me in this Grand Prix on lap number 1. And I've got to thank my lucky stars. We've not got any damage, but it's all because of this incident right here now on the replays. On board with Leclerc, we defend against Sainz. We cut in for the tight line there, and then Leclerc just goes for a dive in a gap that was never there, that was always going to close. We look at a slow-mo. In my opinion, if I'm him, at this point, I'm backing out of the fight. There's no, I'm clearly going to be there still in a few seconds, which I was, and he's spun me around. He's so lucky. He did not get any damage on his front wing. I thought for sure there was some damage there on the left-hand side, but no, he's got no damage. He's spun me round, half spun, and now we're down here in P10, having to fight back. Thankfully for me, I've got no damage as well, so we can kind of continue on the fight. I was a little bit worried that there was some sort of damage somewhere on the car, but no, we're all fine. And now we've got it all to do. 26 laps to go. We're down in P10 here, and Leclerc is a good 5 positions ahead. Up there, so we've got to make the moves as quickly as we can, and to that effect we go down the inside of Ocon. Big dive there, under brakes, supreme confidence under brakes, I must say there, because I've got a mixture of driving with a bit of anger now, but also a bit of a level head. I need to keep it cool. We need to make these moves clean and make sure we don't do anything rash and spin ourselves out or make any of those big errors we made in the past this season. I need to keep my head in check, and so to that effect we make a pretty nice move with Matsushita, squeeze him out pretty harshly, but needed to make sure he didn't fight me on the exit. That Renault is pretty quick in a straight line. Meanwhile, up ahead, Lando Norris, our fellow Brit, doing us a bit of a favour here as he tries to slip it through for P3 here, but Leclerc comes back at him. Bit of contact made between the McLaren and the Ferrari, so it's getting pretty frosty between those two, the two virtual GP drivers doing battle again virtually here in the game, and also the Renault is involved as well, but Norris is through, but the Renault now right on the back of the Ferrari. We need that to be there. We need that Renault and the Red Bull, to be fair, of Ricciardo, to pressurise, and those two, having battled Leclerc and Norris, they've lost each other time to the point where now, look at this, we're on the back of Giovinazzi on lap number 4, and I can actually just about see Leclerc up the road, so Norris has done a great job for me to slow him down, to slow Leclerc down, and slow the entire train down as well to that effect, so we've caught on the back of it. But now we face a wash of understeer. You can see in Sector 3, I don't know what was going on. I was so confused. The tyres felt fine on lap number 1 and 2, to be fair as well, when we were overtaking Ocon and Matsushita, but the second I got behind Giovinazzi, there was just this wash of dirty air in Sector 3 that I just couldn't get the nose turned in. We're looking to make a move lap number 5, DRS open, using all the DRS we dare to use. We're getting so close, but just not close enough to make the dive. Giovinazzi's so slow as well through that chicane, slowing me down. Not surprised, obviously, his teammates in the championship fight, so I'm sure Prix have told him to slow me down as much as he can, basically. So instead of being stuck behind all these guys in a train for any longer, we're going to make a bold call and come in on the next lap, lap number 6, for our first pit stop. So this is a lap or two earlier than we agreed upon, but I think it should work out for an undercut around here on maybe even most of them, to be honest, because that's how powerful it can be. So let's see, but that's how bad my right front tyre was. You can see on the internal carcass temperature and the heads-up display, it was brick orange, so we needed to make this pit stop. I was going to go nowhere, basically, with that tyre temperature being that high, basically. There was just no turning, no responsiveness on the front end. So we're now on to a set of medium tyres. It'll be medium tyres to the end of this Grand Prix. We're going to come in pretty good amount of clean air, I'd say. There's Grosjean up ahead, who we might catch at the end of the lap, but pretty much clean air on lap number 7, just to push hard on rich mix on the straight, use plenty of ERS, obviously. We're down back to standard just to try and protect the engine in sector 3 here. Grosjean, bit of a mobile chicane right now, very slow in this second last corner. He continues on, so we have to make a move on him in the last corner there. So Grosjean, it's his last race in Formula 1, remember. He's retiring, and he's holding me up in the championship fight. Great stuff there, great contribution. But we come through the last corner, and that name tag, I think it said Leclerc as we come through turns 2. There he is! Leclerc is just ahead of us, and we've somehow jumped everyone. Surely, once they make their pit stops, Leclerc was ahead of Ricciardo, Kvyat, Giovinazzi. Surely this means we're going to be at least slotting in just in between Leclerc and Kvyat. I think if the running order stays the same. So this is amazing for us. And now we also have a good opportunity to chase after Leclerc and overtake him on circuit. I didn't think it was going to come this early, but here we go. Lap number 8 here to re-overtake him in this race. He's spun us out at this very corner coming up. This time, I'm the one on the inside, but obviously the crucial difference is we were side by side in this corner this time round, so it worked out. But on the exit, getting very close, making some contact with the side pod. We bang tyres. It's all getting a bit personal and a bit angry and a bit heated on lap number 8, but we've made the pass and we're up into P19 as it stands in this Grand Prix. But remember, we've made some early pit stops. We're definitely the earliest guys who've come in. So Leclerc definitely, he made an earlier stop than he wanted to, I feel, to cover me off, I think, because the AI are pitting a lot later now. The rest of them, lap 8 on to 9, as we look to overtake Magnussen now, who continues on the soft compound tire. So surprised these guys are taking their tyres that long, because I doubt the Haas tyre wear is that great on their R&D tree. But oh well, we come through into P10 now as it is. Norris is the next car along, so we are in the kind of frame of what the race will be eventually as we go through the laps. Everyone's made their pit stops, and so the running order is Verstappen in first, Sainz in second, Norris third, myself in P4. But for how much longer? Because Leclerc is chasing after us. Kvyat and Giovinazzi behind him, but here comes Leclerc on the left-hand side. Even though we're deploying all the ERS in the world, Leclerc with a big dive, and he takes us wide, so wide, in fact, that Kvyat has come through the Renault out of nowhere. Leclerc was so focused on pushing me as wide as he could, he's jeopardized both our races there in that corner, and Kvyat has just waltzed through into P4. So you can really see the gloves are off. Nothing else matters. It is just me versus him. He's willing to lose a position there just to try and force me wide. Riding on board, look at this. He cuts the curb a bit and then turns right into the left-hander. Takes me proper wide to the point where I have to step out of the throttle. Otherwise, I'm going off onto the blue runoff area. And Kvyat just walks through. It just takes candy from the baby, basically. It says, thank you very much. I'll get up into P4 and try and have a strong finish for my team Renault. So, yeah, like I said, in the lead of this race is my teammate Verstappen from Sainz. Despite having started on the medium tyres, Sainz pretty much made the same sort of pit stop as Verstappen. He's onto another set of mediums, so I suspect Sainz is looking to do a soft tyre stint right at the end of this race, so there may be quite a tasty battle right at the death of this thing. But for us now, with Norris in P3, Kvyat P4, it kind of means that this is going to be a very nitty-gritty finish to this race in championship, because me and Leclerc are both down the order, not on the high points finishes where we can really make a huge leap in difference in the standings. And for Leclerc, it gets a little bit worse, because Giovinazzi is looking to overtake him. Leclerc's looking a little bit slow in the recent laps, and there goes Giovinazzi round the outside, and the Italian overtakes his more senior teammate, the man who's in the championship fight. Agent Giovinazzi doing work for us. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know how Ferrari have allowed this, but Agent Gio, working undercover for us clearly, is working a tree, and he's overtaken Leclerc. Amazing. Although, I say that, maybe I've spoken too soon, because on lap 17, I maybe start to understand maybe why he's overtaken us. Maybe Ferrari know that Gio at this stage is quicker than Leclerc, and all they can do to help Leclerc out is send Gio after me to try and slow me down, because he's right here, and he's looking so quick, and into the hairpin. Look how quick he is mid-apex there. Like I said in qualifying, the AI are just so much better at that hairpin rotation than I am, to the point where Giovinazzi nearly went round the outside of me at a hairpin. Ridiculous. But now we're going to be neck and neck, because he's on the left-hand side with DRS open. No matter how much ERS we deployed, he's got the faster speed. We tuck in tight. We're going to try and set up the re-overtaking move if we can on the second straight. We're going to have the second bite of the cherry of DRS here. Open the rear flap. Rich mix going. Going to deploy most of our ERS now on this remaining straight on the outside. But Gio with a big dive on the outside. We give him the room, and we're just going to get back in front. But the damage is already done. Look behind us. Leclerc is now right up Giovinazzi's rear end, and he's a lot closer to myself then, obviously. So that's maybe what the Ferrari plan was, is sending Gio after me. What have I just witnessed there? That one, and he's gone again! Giovinazzi! He's absolutely sending it. He's trying to send me off circuit now. This is absolutely nuts. Ferrari are throwing the kitchen sink at my car here to try and just do anything to stop me. Leclerc now is in. He's come in with the Renault and McLaren. That's quite crucial, you know. That's actually quite bad. Giovinazzi's fighting me so hard, I didn't even clock what lap we're on, what kind of scenario we're at. Leclerc's now come in a lap earlier than I have, so he's done what we did to him. We tried the undercut in stint 1. It worked out. We jumped Giovinazzi, Kvyat, or was it Mashasita at the time, or Kvyat at the time. But now he's the one with the undercut, and I'm stuck out there still fighting Giovinazzi, remember. So Ferrari have played actually a massive blinder. They've not only sent Giovinazzi after me to slow me down, to close up the gap, they've also kind of, you know, they've been fighting me so hard to the point where I completely forgot to maybe cover off or at least come in earlier than Leclerc. So now he's maybe got the advantage as we continue to fight Giovinazzi on lap 18. 10 laps to go in this thing. And now we're coming in for our final pit stop of the entire season this will be. And the big question mark is, how quick has Leclerc gone on that fresh set of medium tyres? Compared to how slow we were maybe on these very worn mediums, and whilst we're fighting Giovinazzi, this might be a blinder strategy by Ferrari, sending Giovinazzi, who was quicker at the time, after me, slowing me down further, then kind of fighting me so hard that I forget to maybe cover off Leclerc or watch what he's doing, and he's now got the undercut on me. So we go through underneath his very unique pit exit, underneath turn 1, and look at the mini-map, look ahead of us, Leclerc's ahead. And it's not even just him, it's so much worse. Ocon and Mashasita are also ahead of us. So we've got 2 cars in between us, and we're down in P14. There's still some people yet to make pit stops, so I don't know where we're going to end up in all this. I would hope we're going to be right back there behind the likes of Kvyat and Norris. So I think Leclerc could be in P6, in a net P6. Mashasita then P7, Ocon P8, and me P9. And if it stays like this is not enough. He would win the championship like this, and we've got 8 laps to go. So we've got it all to do, and very much like Season 2, unfortunately, it's the exact thing I didn't want, but we're chasing after Leclerc yet again at Abu Dhabi to try and keep a championship lead. But there is one difference here. We've got a much better car, and I'm also in a much better state this season. We've already come back once before in this race after Leclerc spun us out. We can do it again. Let's show some resolve. Let's show some grit and character and get through this. We overtake Ocon with ease, with a big dive bomb that was on the right-hand side, and hopefully going to be straight on the back of the Renault onto the next lap, and we are, as we got some more people in the pit lane, then Russell in, Hamilton as well, so we're going to be up into P9 it is. So we've still got some more people to come in for the pit stops this race here, but as it stands, we're P9 on circuit, and this would not be enough to hold the championship, and we're pushing so hard to the point where we're almost spinning out there. Oi, 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 that was such a high-speed catch, but that is the pressure we're under here. I really want this, and I'm not leaving it to chance. I'm not leaving it to being one position behind Leclerc and him scoring 2 more points than me and coming and winning the championship by 1 point. I want to do this fair and square on circuit, get it done, and have no stress at the end of this thing. So here we go. We've got to make the move on this Renault. He defends to the inside. We go to the outside. Easy does it. Jockey for position. Try and leave him the room on the outside. No contact made. Easy does it. Up into P8. Breathe again. Maintain the composure here. We've got 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix. We're up into P8. Leclerc is now directly ahead of us behind Ricciardo in P7. If it was to end like this, we would win the championship by 1 point there. We're going to go up to P7 now. So how many points is that? We've got, 1 point for 10th place, then 2, 4, 6. So I would get 6 points here, and he would get 8. So we would win the championship by 1 point if it ended like this. But as I said, I don't want to leave it to that. I don't want to have any chance. You never know if someone behind me, Mashasita, Ocon, someone just becomes quick at the end of this race. If the tyre wear hits my car like it did at the end of that second stint just before that last pit stop, I don't want to leave it to that. So here we go. DRS open, Rich Mix going, ERS deploying all the way down the straight. Leclerc's got some DRS off Ricciardo, but it doesn't matter. We're down the inside. We're a bit deep into the corner with a lock-up on the front left, but it's a lovely way to take Leclerc wide like he did to us earlier on in the Grand Prix, and we're up into P6. He comes back at us a little bit. We deploy the rest of our ERS. We are now negative fuel to try and push away, but Leclerc keeps his foot in, and he's still well there within it. And if we're both catching Ricciardo, if Ricciardo's not quick enough for me, then potentially we're going to get bunched up into Leclerc. And obviously, remember, every single lap, the Ferrari especially, but all the AI are so much better than me at this hairpin corner. It's a joke. But up ahead of us, yellow flags, Ricciardo. Oh no, Ricciardo in the last race. For the second season in a row, a Red Bull has retired at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Ricciardo's out. We're elevated up into P5. And Leclerc then therefore elevated up into P6. Again though, nothing really changes in terms of our situation. We're ahead of Leclerc anyway, fair and square, but if we were to swap positions here and he came in P5 and P6, I could still win the championship, but we're not going to even leave it to that. We're going to push on, and to be honest, surprisingly, I somehow had the pace to catch up to Fiat with Leclerc as well, because Leclerc is there within 1 second, so I don't know where this pace has come from and where the lack of pace has struck Renault, because Fiat looks so quick in that second stint. Once he overtook us, when we battled Leclerc in that second stint, he just walked away from us. But now Renault have lost all their pace. Maybe they used all their ERS and fuel up in that second stint. So now Fiat here, he's there for the taking. We've got DRS open, but we're not quite gaining on him as much as I want to. We're going to make a dive to the inside. It's going to be very close on the right. Bit of contact made there. Bit of a Nico Rosberg flashback from Verstappen having to overtake him in that chicane. We're going to try and emulate him by getting the DRS line here and going on the outside of the next left-hander. Can we do it? The big dive on the outside. Fiat, he takes us wide like Leclerc did, and Leclerc is down the inside. We've got to keep it ahead of Fiat, but now we get it alongside the Ferrari car. We're not going to give up this fight. We try and tuck in, the exit isn't there, and Leclerc is now up into P4, but we've crucially also overtaken the Renault we were trying to overtake anyway in the first place. So even if it still ended like this now, Leclerc would have 12 points, I would have 10, so we could still win the championship like this. But oh my god, this is so tense. That moment when both Leclerc and Fiat were ahead of me, my heart sank a little bit. I was like, you've got to be kidding me here. How has Fiat just finessed me by taking me wide in the exact same animation and way Leclerc did to get him ahead of me in the first place? But here we are, second last lap of the Grand Prix. I wasn't lying. I want to get this done on circuit, fair and square, beat this man for the championship on track in the Grand Prix. It's so close on the right. There's a bit of contact made now in the brake zone. The tyre walls are rubbing. We're neck and neck. This is an insane fight on the second last lap of the last race of this season. 3 points in the championship, and we're battling like this on circuit. You love to see it. Round the outside of Leclerc, still, and towards the hotel section, we're going to cut across the racing line and get back up into P4 of the race, and that's surely it. This has been such a tense Grand Prix. There's been so much happening. It's flip-flopped so many different ways, but for it to potentially end like this on the second last lap of the Grand Prix, having such a nice battle with Leclerc here. Bit of contact was made in the initial part of the battle, but then the rest of it was all so clean, so fine. I mean, look at that. Pretty much tapping tyre sidewalls there, but that's pretty much it, and we kept it clean throughout this entire section. But here's the onboard here, and we just cut across, and he's unable to keep his foot in on the right-hand side, and that might just be us up and booked in to P4. But not only P4, the Drivers' World Championship. Max Verstappen has won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He's dominated this Grand Prix. GG's, fair play to my teammate. Carlos Sainz, my old teammate from Season 2, he takes second place for us after the Grand Prix. Lando Norris, what an insane third place for the McLaren, whilst his teammates way down in P10, I think it is. But for us, through the last few corners, we're going to get our revenge from Season 2. We couldn't do it then, but now, Season 3, we're going to come across the line to win the Drivers' Championship for the first time on F1 2020, my team career mode. We've beaten Leclerc, we've beaten Verstappen, we've beaten Carlos Sainz in a season that was so competitive. We've done it. We've won the championship.
And so the celebrations begin, and well-earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver can tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Victory today then, but bittersweet emotions I'm sure, as the championship slips through their fingers. Even so, what a fantastic final race of the season this was. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
There it is, that championship winning cutscene there. We celebrate with the rest of the aarava Archer Racing team. We've won the Constructors' Championship for the second time in our history, 2 in a row, but for our very first time on this game, we've won the Drivers' Championship. We've beaten Leclerc, we've got that revenge, and we also beat the others around us who are so competitive all season. You've got to remember, if you look back at the race results over the course of the season, how competitive this season was. The top 4 people in this championship were the first 4 winners of this season. Over the course of this season, being so topsy-turvy, but we've come through all of it to win the championship finally. And we did it in some style. I'm not going to lie, when we were half spun round on lap 1, I really did consider clicking restart because I thought, how has this actually happened? How have I been finessed by the man I'm actually directly fighting? How is he the one that spun me out? But we kept it in. We kept on going, as we have done all this season. I've kept it true. I've not cut out any mistakes. I've just kept it and firmed it. And yes, we've made mistakes, but we've always tried our best to come through, and even today we've done that. We had a very quick car, to be fair, as well. That was a big difference as well. This season our car was clearly a lot better than it was in Season 2 compared to Leclerc and Ferrari's combo of last year. But yeah, we've finally done it, and we won the Drivers' Championship on this game. Guys, if you did enjoy that race, then be sure to smash the like button. If you did enjoy the entire season, no less, then hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. What was your favourite moment maybe from that race and this entire season? Was there a standout race, a standout moment for you in the entire season? Let me know in the comments below. But what a crazy one. That's going to take some time to settle in, because that really was a bonkers season. It was a season where also, remember, Ocon won 2 races randomly in the middle of the season. We had Mercedes being absolute donkeys the entire way, and just that whole dynamic of the entire way through my current teammate, my old one, and my old championship rival the entire time. We're just all going toe-to-toe, punches left, right and centre, every single race, flip-flopping back through the standings. But the one consistent thing was our perseverance and consistency, I feel, brought us through to finally get the championship. And you can see a really nice summary on screen right now there, with 4 wins for me, 5 for Verstappen. He got 10 pole positions this season, which is pretty fair. GG's. 2 for me. Obviously, I've never been the best qualifier, you guys know that, but it's the points that matter. And to be fair, Verstappen, with that win, he actually closed the gap gap up in the championship so much, actually, to 318. So he really had a pretty damn strong season. If it wasn't for maybe one or two little unfortunate races for Verstappen, he could have been well in there. But in the end, we've won out and we've won the drivers. But it's nice to have this screen and have both trophies indicated on that, unlike last season. It's a much better feeling, I must say. But we'll also come on to some equally interesting things now. With the end of Season 3, guys, obviously is the start of Season 4. And I'm hoping to start Season 4 at the end of this week. And so to that effect, I have some votes for you guys. And the vote is for our teammate, first of all. Now, Verstappen's been a very strong teammate, but let's face it, it all boiled over a bit at Italy, and ever since then, I can't forgive him. I can't be in the same team as him anymore. We need to move him out. He's been a great trooper. He's helped us win a second World Championship, the Constructors, but in the end, he almost did hinder us for our Drivers' Championship fight. It was all equal square, you know. I'm always going to allow my teammate to fight me, but from Italy onwards, it boiled over the pot. So we're going to move teammates. So the vote is for you guys. Now, I saw a really interesting idea earlier on the season. I really like the idea potentially, so I'm going to give that as an option, is potentially trying to sign Lewis Hamilton. I say trying to because Hamilton is notoriously hard to sign in career mode, no matter how good your team is. But we could try and sign Hamilton because he's scored, I think, only just over 10 points in this entire season. Like, we've scored over 300. He's scored just over 10. So he's maybe looking to have a bit of a redemption arc, a bit of a redemption storyline. So if we signed him, maybe he could flourish once again in our team and get back to his very best. So we could try and sign Hamilton, or I'm going to leave it very open-ended for me personally to decide this, basically. But we could go for a bit of a left field choice. Go for a maybe promising star. One of the guys this season that's maybe impressed in one or two races or over the course of the season in my eyes, and maybe makes some sense to maybe bring into our team and nurture a little bit and maybe become a top star. Almost like we did with Sainz, remember? We brought in Sainz from McLaren and then he's become a top driver now. So can we do that again with another midfield or kind of mid-tier, upper-tier driver potentially? So those are the kind of two teammate vote choices. And as was the case last season, I'm also going to give you guys a vote on our brand new title sponsor for Season 4. So vote away, straw polls in the description and the comments below to set up the pre-season video for Season 4. Like I said, I hope that will come towards the end of the week, so watch out for that. And if you're new around here, do get subscribed for that season and more F1 2020 content. But that has been the end of Season 3, and what a season that was. I think, honestly, that might be one of the most entertaining vanilla career mode seasons I've had from the game. Like, just producing it, you know, so early on as well in the game cycle, the third season, to have such a crazy season like that with, you know, 4 big players consistently, you know, fighting each other through the course of it. Really, really fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you did, then for a final time, hit that like button. But I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.